Yeah, this might not be very deep in terms of what we've seen past years for linebackers, but we got to go through them. There's some interesting prospects still here. Anyway, though, let's get into our 2025 NFL linebackers prospects here in the draft. And with that, what is going on, guys? We'll go back to the eventful. Of course, please like and subscribe. Please enjoy the 2025 NFL edition. Of course, it could get closer to the draft. I will be talking about linebackers today. Again, there will be 8 guys I will be ranking today. Again, it's a little bit of a smaller group. I think I did 10 last year. But inside linebackers never really a position that's ever really thought of too much. But despite this draft class not really having a true elite guy or even a really good player, there's a couple, really one, that I think could definitely turn out to be a good player. But outside of that, though, we will be going through 7 other guys who do have some potential and guys who I think are pretty interesting overall. Outside of that, though, again, there's definitely 4 honorable mentions I want to get into too because they do deserve it. And again, there's a lot of other guys graded, which you guys will be seeing on the big board, as well as a lot of the other stuff. Again, we get really close to the draft. And again, I'll also be talking about all the guys that get drafted after the draft. So again, if you really want to know about those guys, again, that get drafted to your team, well, I'll give you guys all that again after. Anyway, though, draft skill is all before we get into these honorable mentions. First off, 95 plus the perfect prospect. Again, like I said, I don't think I've ever given this out. Maybe once, maybe none. 92.94. Again, I don't think anyone would even close to this. 89 to 91.9, also still very insane to get, but, you know, maybe once in a while. 86 to 80.8.9, usually the best players in the draft get this, maybe 1 or 2 guys, maybe even 3. 82 to 85.9, yeah, there's a good amount of guys that usually get your best prospects at the position. 78 to 81.9, yeah, again, so good. And then, in this case, yeah, potential to be a good starter at some point, which it should be it. And you got your average guy, 75. Again, that's really where you want to be if you're a prospect coming into the league, and you should be good. 73 to 74.99, and we'll see if they'll become a starter. 71 to 72.99 should be a solid backup in the league at the very least, I guess. 69 to 71. Yep, they're gonna be on the bench. They're gonna be bench warmers. Yeah, 66 to 69. Yeah, they're gonna struggle to stay in a roster, but they'll be there. And then 60 to 65, which I hope I don't have to grade anyone that bad. But hey, you know, it was close with this group. Yeah, not really, but still. Yeah, you're gonna be picked up and be a camp body. Anyway, though, first honor mentions Chris Paul Jr. from not Chris Paul's. I think there's no way he's Chris Paul's kid. I don't think he is. But he went to Ole Miss. He definitely has some of the traits that I really like in linebackers, guys. The biggest thing is, though, you got to be able to tackle. And he wasn't. I'm not saying he's a bad tackler. I mean, he had 88 this year. But in the open field, he just really isn't that consistent. He got a ton of playing time this past year after not really getting as much as he would have liked and again, for a bad Arkansas team as well, I got to mention that. But for him at Ole Miss, yeah, I think he could have played better last year overall. That's, again, it's just a tackling thing. I just did not get that question answered on film. So, for that reason, he's just not on here. But there are some good things about him. Next up, again, I'm continuing to snuff, if I can get to him. I think that's Jeffrey Bassa. I don't think he's a bad player at all. He's definitely got some good athleticism traits and stuff like that. But guys, just straight up, he's just not very good in coverage, and his instincts just aren't that good. They're just not NFL caliber right now. And yes, again, in Oregon, he all 3 years he got quality playing time, and as a rookie, as a freshman in 2021, I think he had arguably his best season, in terms of what I saw. I'm not saying he went downhill at all. Just on film, he just did not. And through none of these seasons was he really that guy where I'm like, yeah, he ever flashed those instincts. Where I'm like, yeah, that guy can play it at the NFL level. I'm not saying that he's bad. There's definitely things there that I think he'll be able to develop, but the instincts just aren't, they're really just not there right now, to be honest with you. They've definitely gotten better, but, guys, I can't tell you anything more. The instincts just, they're not good enough right now. Jack Kaiser from freaking Notre Dame. He's like a 13 grad, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, the 2 pick sixes were nice to see, but the biggest thing I think that's holding him back is just he's not that athletic. I don't really know what to tell you guys. Yeah, on film there's some good stuff you're gonna like. I think he's definitely probably the 9th linebacker if I had to grade these 4 guys. But yeah, he's just not that athletic, and I don't know, it just got me in the butt on film. But yeah, there were some plays, especially against, I think it was Northern Illinois, where he actually played one of his better games of the season, considering how bad they played in that one. So I mean, I guess you're okay with that. But yeah, there's a lot of good things going for Jack. So I mean, again, not the end of the world, but I would be shocked if he gets picked anywhere higher than 6th round, because he's old and he's just not that there's not much of a ceiling there. Then Nicholas Martin, I guess we'll go to OK State. I kind of hate him because he really freaking stuffed us. I'm talking about Oklahoma. Last year when we had Dylan Gabriel as a quarterback, he played. That was the best game I've ever seen him play. Outside of that though, he's had trouble staying healthy. Really outside of that though, and he couldn't get on the field in 2022 as well. I think he got picked apart against by I don't even know who it was. They played Was it Baylor in the championship? I forget. But there was that one game. He got in because someone got injured, and it just was not good. I will say though, he's a pretty awarded player overall, and I think there's definitely something for him in the league for sure. But again, he didn't stay healthy at all last year. I think that just really screwed him, even though he was on his way to a really good season. So that's probably about it. I wasn't comfortable putting him in this ranking, just not having that, the second half of the season. But overall, Nick Martin, guys, he's a good linebacker overall. Again, there's some uncertainties with him, but I definitely would consider drafting him late in the draft for sure. Anyway, though, let's get to our first linebacker who just made the cut.
From the 38-yard line, Richie Hoskins goes in motion to run to the near side. Not a lot.
And the first prospect we will be getting today, of course, is Shemar James, the linebacker from Florida, who had a pretty interesting career overall. He never really, I'm going to probably be honest with you guys, I think had a complete season there. Obviously, his sophomore season of sorts, I guess you'd say. In 2023 was honestly probably his best year before he did get injured. Was it against Auburn? I think it was. I swear, I don't know if it was against Auburn. Yeah, there we go. No, it was against Georgia, I guess. Oh, no. No, that was Auburn. It was after. That's what the game was. Anyway, though, for Shemar, the biggest issues that I saw him appear for specifically last year was most of what we've seen before, which probably brings us to a big thing. But yeah, overall, his career, again, I probably could have played a little bit better. But yeah, let's just get right into it. Either way, starting out with his tackling, again, this is the grades we'll go through. Again, tackling, football IQ, coverage overall, instincts, eye discipline. Again, there's different positioning. Again, fitting the run, basically. The reason I say positioning is because that's probably the best way to put it. And I think, again, it's very broad, but for linebackers, it's literally just fitting the run. If you position yourself right, you're going to, again, it's literally, because if you can't fit the run, you're just not going to play. Quarterback contain, playmaking, speed, blitz, blah, 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 and more blah. Anyway, though, tackling, 73. I think he's an okay tackler. I don't really think it's either consistency nor him actually, his overall technique is bad. I just don't think there's anything really else to talk about. It's good enough. I'm not going to really talk about it anymore. I'm expecting to get much better, though, so again, that's probably the one negative thing I talk about with that, because, again, when it's either around average, again, there's usually some uptick, but I think he'll always be an okay tackler. In the open field, he'll struggle once in a while. Again, that was the thing I was talking about, him getting better in 2023, but last year kind of reverted back to the way he played as a freshman. Anyway, though, his football IQ, I really do like. Part of the reason he actually got in this. Again, he's definitely a smart player for sure. His recognition has improved a lot throughout his career. Also, I like the way that he is able to again read key what the on guards do pre-snap. Again, and then he's able to time it up. And again, overall, he's just good due diligence with that. Man coverage consistency is not good. I wanted to give him a little bit of a higher grade here, but I really just couldn't because on film there were some plays where he simply just got blown coverage in terms of his leverage there. Whether it was outside or inside, it just overall just wasn't consistent like that. But I will say I do like his versatility because I think there are situations where he can actually cover a slot receiver if you really do need him. That might sound insane, but I actually think he does have that potential. So one of the better things there. But overall, that's definitely a freaking high bar for him to reach, but that's probably his cap there in terms of that. Zone coverage consistency is probably a little bit worse. This is more the fact that he just really hasn't developed the feel yet, and I don't know if he ever will, so we'll see on that one. Versatility, though, 77, and he definitely has the speed to be decent. His instincts are 91, probably the only reason he's actually, this is definitely his best skill for sure. He does have elite instincts overall, if I had to guess. Again, on an elite above average, stuff like that. Because, again, like I said, he hasn't really developed the feel, but the fact that he's still was capable enough and also was huge on third downs for that Florida defense, again, towards the end of last year. I think that's, again, just overall his instincts. And also, he doesn't exactly trust what he sees. But he just knows what he's doing. It's weird, but he definitely has natural instincts are very, very good. Eye discipline, he gets caught up a lot, but I don't know the instincts coming. I just don't think he's always the most, again, discipline is probably the best way to put it. But there were plays, especially against Georgia last year, where he just got completely ran off the line, and it was just really bad, especially with that motion they ran a lot there, even though, again, Georgia kind of sucked this year. But yeah, 91 for instincts for sure. Again, that's what I want to, there's definitely a big difference with that. I'd say usually it's not, but, guys, tongue and coverage, he's just... There's that sixth sense, I guess, the best way to put it. Positioning is not great. That's more, again, experience and pre-snap, just, again, getting better with it. It just wasn't very good this past year. So until that changes, I can't really, guys, fitting the run isn't really something, again, if you have instincts, it's not that hard to get better at. Again, I think it won't be an issue. But right now, it's just not very good. He doesn't contain well. The quarterback, just the fact that I don't think he's ever like really in the position to post snap again when it comes to zone coverage consistency. Again, when he gets comfortable enough where he can consistently get to the right spots, I think containing the quarterback will get a lot easier for him. But there are plays where I'm like, yeah, if he was in the right spot there, that wouldn't have been a first down. Playmaking is decent. I think there are definitely some sparks there, but overall the capabilities just aren't there. Speed, he's pretty fast. I'll probably say really good overall. Definitely better than solid. Definitely something he'll be using going in the league. His blitzing is atrocious. He takes the worst routes to the quarterback, and I really just think putting him on a blitz is just basically surrendering your advantage on defense. Strength, definitely a strong guy overall. He's got that raw strength as well as the fact that I just think, again, he doesn't really get knocked around too much. That's good. Block shedding is atrocious as well. I think his handwork is just awful. Like, just really the placement in general. We'll get to edge rushers later, again, as we get close to the draft, but it's something that I'll continue to stress. If you don't have good hand placement, your block shedding is just going to be freaking cooked, and that's exactly what it is with him, especially, again as a blitzer. He can't generate anything. He's definitely a very athletic prospect overall, though. Again, I think there's just a little bit more burst and just energy to him that I don't just think like naturally that a lot of other guys just don't have. I don't think he has the highest potential, though. Again, that's why Patrick McQueen is his comparison. Patrick McQueen coming out was definitely a raw prospect. The only difference between these guys were the fact that Patrick McQueen actually had a lot better eye discipline, and that, yeah, he's never really been a great blitzer. But his athleticism might have been a little bit higher. But both are really good athletes. Again, no one's acting like Patrick Queen's like one of the best linebackers in the league, though. So I do like that comparison overall. But he does have a fairly disappointing grade overall. But I mean, like, what are you gonna do about it, bro? Anyway, I just think Shemar James has a lot to work on. But overall, he's still a decent prospect in the grand scheme of things. Now let's get to a guy that I have some strong opinions on.
Kansas Jayhawks are on right now. They beat Iowa State, who was the leader.
And up next was Clemson's leading tackler last year. Maybe not. I think he was, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, it's Barrett Carter, who had a very solid season last year for a Tiger squad that, of course, did make it to the college football playoff. 6'1", 220, I think that's pretty accurate. I don't think he plays up to 220 at all, but, I mean, I guess he is, so, I mean, you got to go with that. Good arm length, though, which is something we'll definitely get to later. In coverage, he definitely became a lot more effective after, again, 2023, I think he was more effective than 2022 overall, again. You should see that. But I really like the fact that he came back for a senior season because, Jesus. In last year's class, I don't even know if he would have been a 5th-round pick. But in this year's, he's definitely got a shot, at the very least, being that. With that said, though, there's definitely some things he needs to get better at, which we'll get to in a minute. But yeah, 3.5 sacks, 11 tackles for loss, 8 tackles there. And yeah, overall got some really good playing time in Clemson, as you can see there. Anyway, though, for Barrett, his tackling's always been an issue. It's just really the consistency and him just really being able to develop a technique. Yeah, again, the average, I think that, again, if you can't tackle consistently, I really don't know how you're supposed to stick a linebacker. For that reason, that's my biggest concern with him. I think he definitely get better, but through 4 years, he's improved overall. His tackling as a freshman was awful, but it's still not very good, and until it improves, I don't know if he's really going to get a shot at being a consistent player. Because, I mean, guys, like you saw with Devin White, if you're not a good tackler, you're just, or at least okay at times. There's obviously varying levels in the NFL. How good you got to at least be able to wrap a guy up, and he just hasn't been able to do that yet. And for that reason, I gotta give him this. I want to give him a higher grade, but it's just not there. Football IQ is okay. I don't really think it's anything that's gonna hinder him in the league, but it's definitely not a strength of his. Man coverage consistency is not good. It's simply because he just gets beat way too much. I don't think there's any sort of it's confusing because it's just in man, he just doesn't seem to ever stick to a guy. It's weird. Versatility, I don't really see much. I think again some of these bigger tight ends he'll be able to do a decent job against. If he goes up against the slot, it's not gonna end well. Consistency, same thing in zone coverage. It's more the fact that he gets lost a lot, which is just frustrating. But he definitely has versatility there, and you'll see why in a second. But yeah, he just really wasn't that consistent in coverage at all. It was really just frustrating overall on film. I thought he was going to be better in the coverage base overall, but again, at least I got the versatility there at his own. His instincts are definitely lackluster. Part of the reason I don't think he's a great tackler, he just doesn't really always get in the best position for it. Probably his biggest weakness, if I had to guess, or not to guess, if I had to pick. Eye discipline is actually pretty solid. Again, if you might not think that, but against the run, he actually does a pretty good job at staying in holes. Fitting the run, also again, probably because of his positioning. I think Dabo Sweeney and that overall, his Clemson coaching staff has done a really good job of getting their linebackers in really good position. Containing 93, again, anything less, you're going to just put him out there on third down to make sure the quarterback, again, a scrambling quarterback won't be able to actually get out of the pocket. That's what he'll be able to do. Very, very good with that. Playmaking, I want to give him higher, but he's just not very consistent. He definitely has high capability, though. I mean, he's definitely got the awareness for it. Speed, Yeah, he's really freaking fast, guys. Probably the fastest linebacker we've seen in a couple drafts now. Again, I don't want to label it as like generational or special speed by any means, but it's definitely higher end for sure. Blitzing, he's a very good blitzer. He takes very good tracks to the ball, just very, very like, I'm going to freaking hit the crap out of you. And that's where we come to the zone coverage versatility. I think there will be parts where spots where his speed and his blitzing capabilities will really help him out, even though he might not be the most effective guy. Again, you could really match make him there, and then the offense coordinator has to respect that. Strength, he's not a very strong player despite his size at times. I mean, he's not very big at all, I get that. But, like, again, you're going to see Smael Mondon later. Mondon, he isn't very big either. But, yeah, he's definitely not a strong player. You can definitely move him and penetrate on him, which I do have to respect that. But at the same time, I don't think this will be something that's the biggest issue, even though he definitely needs to work on it. Block shedding, 75. Again, it's okay. I'm not going to really complain about it too much. Overall, it's definitely somewhat refined. Athleticism, very athletic prospect. Definitely an elite athlete overall. I mean, watch the film, you'll see it. And again, just go to the combine, because that does the same thing too. Potential. I want to give him higher, but like I just don't know. Again, with Jeremiah Okamura, who would have the biggest difference is that JOK had the instincts. That's really the only difference that I think that you can come out with these guys, because they were both elite athletes coming out. So I got to give him this respect there. But 73.9, yeah, about a 74 overall, grade 4. Barrett. Now let's get to a guy that might not have the athleticism, but he definitely has some other good stuff going for him.
Trying to orchestrate a light scoring drive. They want to set up that little bubble screen, but the Sooners sniffed it out. Nowhere to go. Man, what a...
Now on to a guy that I probably watched, oh, holy crap, never taking live too, probably like hours, many hours, watching, of course, that being Danny Stutsman from Oklahoma, who has been a very respected and a very prolific linebacker for the Sooners, even though, you know, I'm not going to act like he's the most outstanding linebacker in the country, but last year he had a hell of a year, at his best year in coverage, despite still not being very great. That got him the All-American, which he deserved at in 2022, but he did not get. Really the biggest thing, though, throughout his progression in his career is the fact that, yes, 2022, I think he was definitely the most effective against the run, but also in 2023, probably overall his best year. But again, last year, I think he definitely took a little bit of a step back in his overall aggressiveness and like dynamic ability against the run, but he was much more disciplined in coverage, and just overall, I think just took that to like a more respective level, where again, coming into that 2024 season, people were questioning, he's good against the run. He's definitely a leader there, but he can't cover consistently. It just doesn't really look like he's physically able to do that. And again, that was just the biggest knock on him. So I'm not going to act like he like completely silenced everybody, but he was much better with it. And I think, again, overall had a much more well-rounded season that I really think was just huge there for him. Anyway, though, when we get it, we're on Barrett now. We're on Barrett Carter. Now we're on Danny Stutsman. Yeah, there we go. His tackling is really, really good. That's part of the reason he's a very good run defender, guys. He just... Not only, again, is he able to wrap up very consistently, just overall his technique is just straight up really good. You got to realize, guys, players just tackle straight up differently. He does a little bit. I'd say he's more of like a low rider, like he goes for the knees a little bit more. But more importantly for him, again, in the open field, guys, he's gonna knock you back more times than not. Again, even if he runs in the wrong hole, he still is able to get there and make the play. So yeah, 84 for that. Football IQ is really solid. The only knock I have it on, I just don't think he has those like upper level progressions of a college linebacker that we really only see like at every 3-4 drafts. So it's not like a knock on him by any means, but he's not. I'm not gonna act like he's like some like super advanced guy there, but he's still pretty solid. Man coverage consistency. So guys, there is a difference between consistency and versatility. He is consistent in man coverage. Yes, he'll get beat, but he'll make the tackle, guys. It's not like he's giving a ton of separation. Again, gotta like realize, again, if you're like all over the place like that and that, like you know what you're getting out of him in man coverage, which is good. His versatility, it'll never be very good just because of the fact that you can't have him play one-on-one very well. It's just not going to end well for anybody. For that reason, it's just, his change of reaction just isn't really there. Zone coverage consistency, I think, is a little bit higher because of the fact that I think, again, he can really make plays out of that a little bit more than man coverage. I don't really want to get that too confused. But, yeah, I think he's a little bit more comfortable in zone. That's part of the reason this is different. Zone coverage versatility, still not very good. You don't want him to play freaking covering half the field. Instincts are good. Not really much more than that. I think that's just kind of how it's going to be. I think he really adjusted that. He didn't I think he really tried to hone in on what he's reading and not always what he thinks is going to happen. For that reason, part of the Brad Venables system, he doesn't want his linebackers. Part of the reason Danny Stutsman got so good was the fact that he doesn't want his linebackers always to be free, which is weird. But considering the type of player he is, it's very important that's the case. Eye discipline. is very, very good. I rarely saw that part of the reason that I think I really believed in Oklahoma defense last year. Yeah, 2023 they they were really bad in 2022, but they had their moments last year or 2 years ago but this year I'm like, we're gonna do decent against the run. We're not gonna have these huge runs. I mean, we gave a couple, but like, I knew Danny Stutsman would do a very, very good job. Again, this is part of the fitting the run. He's going to be in the right position coming to fit in the run. He's elite with that. Very, very little plays. I'm like, yeah, he just completely, again, shifted the wrong way, stuff like that. But his eye discipline is still really freaking good. I wouldn't call it elite because there's plays here and there. I'm not going to act like there's not. But on film, you just knew, I saw him, yeah, you know what you're getting out of him with that. And it's very good. Containing, not good. Again, there's quarterbacks that can absolutely shimmy around him. It's definitely going to be something he's going to have to work on. Again, part of the third down thing. Playmaking is decent. You saw there's definitely something there with those instincts. But overall, I just don't know if he really has, the NFL type of capability there. Speed, definitely below average, but I don't really think it's going to be, the biggest issue with him. I'm not going to act like he's going to, track down freaking Derrick Henry in the open field or anything. But, yeah, his speed's definitely an issue, but I think he'll be okay with it. Blitzing is actually an 80 because he's very efficient with it. Again, I would call it economical, but that really just isn't a term you're going to use with an inside linebacker trying to get to the quarterback. But yeah, I guess that's probably the best way to put it. Strength, decent. I like what I see from him. Again, you can definitely hang with them. And just overall, I think there's definitely a little bit more for that there too. Block shedding, yeah, he's okay. Again, you'd be surprised, but yeah, he doesn't shed blocks too great. Athleticism is below average. I'm gonna give him 70 straight up because I don't think, again, it's he's sneaky athletic is the best way to put it. Potential, I think he'll be a decent linebacker, but again, with LV, Leighton Vander Esch's comparison, again, Leighton Vander Esch, outside of his rookie year, really was never a dynamic linebacker. I think there's definitely something there. But for sure, because LV, despite the injuries and the concussions and having to retire early, really early, but no respect to him again. If you gotta do what you gotta do. But again, LV made his living being a really good run defender, and I think that's what Danny Stutsman's gonna have to do as well. But that's all I got for Danny.
Altmaier. Carter got through. Couldn't get all the way to him. Altmaier gets drilled.
Now we are on to Penn State's featured player in this video, of course, that being Kobe King. 6'1", 243. I don't know about that 243. That might be a little bit generous. But anyway, he is definitely probably one of the bigger linebackers we'll see in this video. And he definitely showed at Penn State where, of course, he got this nod in his second season as mostly the starter after, a couple, redshirt as a freshman. But after a couple inconsistencies in their starting linebacker group. Anyway, though, he did get some experience in high school with, I don't even know who it was. It was some freaking scout. I forgot what it was, but that's how he got to Independent State. I don't think he was the most highly touted recruiter, though. But that's besides the point. Recruit. He was very solid in 2022 once given the starting job. 2 years ago, I don't think he had the most, I don't even know. It was weird because he didn't get those third down reps that I think he really needed. But yeah, it was weird. Last year, though, we got the full display of him on film. Overall, I like what I saw. But again, there's still some things some limits with him, and also the fact that I just don't know if he really has the, I'm gonna be a pro. I'm gonna just go out there and take over the game sort of mindset. But outside of that, you gotta like what you saw. There weren't actually too many too glaring issues with him. With that said, though, I say glaring because, there's definitely some in terms of the limits, but overall, guys, Kobe King isn't someone you're going to, be oh, God, with. Because his tackling is really solid. I don't think there's going to ever be, a day where you're going to be holy crap, that guy can just throw you down. But at the same time, he missed, 2 tackles last year from what I saw on film. That might be a little bit of an exaggeration, but it was very, very rare. Even though, his tackling isn't, anything fantastic. But it's not making me, annoyed enough to put it any lower. Football IQ, really good. Again, it's not really good, but it's good enough. Again, not advanced though, so that's the difference there. Man coverage consistency is an 83. He every single time he has very consistent technique, even though he might give some separation. He's gonna be very consistent with his approach. Man coverage versatility, he's not versatile at all. You don't want him, really, honestly, if you get him on a tight end that's got some movement to him, they're going to get open pretty easily. But outside of that, against running backs, he's not that big of a deal. Zone coverage, he's decent in terms of his overall approach, though. The biggest thing is, though, I think as a flat defender, I think that's probably where he's most valuable, which, again, brings the versatility. You have him drop anything more than, maybe 7 yards if I had to get, maybe 6, 7 yards. yeah, that's just not going to end well. Instincts, pretty solid overall. I just think he needs to work on trusting them a little bit more, which again is kind of the opposite that we saw with Danny Stutsman. But again, for the player that he is in some ways, I think that could actually help him out. His eye discipline and the way he fits the run is also very, very good. Again, if you watch Ashton Genty, you see those holes aren't very big. It's part of the reason because he's hitting them, meeting them in every single one. He doesn't contain the quarterback well. His playmaking is just not very good. We didn't see it that much last year. Again, there's other guys in the team for that. Speed, below average, but again, similar, not that big of a deal. I think it'll work with it. Blitzing is atrocious. He just does not do it well. Strength, he's definitely got really good strength. The biggest thing, though, is I just don't know, again, how we'll translate that in the NFL. Again, it would be interesting to see. Block shooting is very good. He gets out blocks very easily. I think that will give him a chance to, maybe get there on the goal line a little bit more. His athleticism is definitely very limited. I just don't know if he'll ever, be someone who you're going to, see out there and, see making, one of those, a little bit, above the, above the grade plays. And that's okay. Potential, I don't really see him anything more than maybe an average running back. That's why Josie Jewell is his comparison. Josie Jewell is a very consistent tackler in the league. I think he's not Panthers now, if I'm not mistaken. But, yeah, Josie Jewell isn't going to wow anyone, and I don't really think Kobe will either. But, hey, this next guy definitely will.
In the game. A lot of movement up front as Nebraska snaps it. Raiola goes down!
And on to a guy that I kind of actually thought was Clay Matthews for a little bit, but, he's just not an edge rusher, so that's not really it. But, yeah, it's Carson Schwesinger, yeah. Yeah, Singer, that's his name. Anyway, though, Carson had a career. He definitely had a career. But overall, though, yes, he's 6'2", 210. He was the man last year for UCLA against a team that really sucked on offense, to say the least. I think they only had one player go over, 800 all-purpose yards. I'll be honest, guys, I probably watched, 18 snaps of UCLA football in terms of their offense last year. Yeah, it was that bad. But that's besides the point because their defense was a lot more fun to watch. As a freshman, sophomore, he barely played. I was very confused why he played a little bit more as a freshman. I just don't remember that. Last year, though, he was their best player on defense by far in a lot of ways. As well as, again, 9 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, 2 picks. Again, 90 solo tackles, I guess. That seems like not a lot, but hey, he was their entire defense. Again, I gotta be honest, guys. Almost every single play, he was making an impact on it, even if he got burned there. But it was a lot of trial and error last year for that UCLA defense, despite not having all that much success. Well, not having all that much success overall. Most of it came with Carson, doing his own thing out there. Anyway, though, I like the free willing of his play. Tackling overall is definitely flawed. But the potential there is really big. He can knock the snot out of guys, and I just really like that. And it's just overall dynamics. You got to give him some credit with that. And also, he does have the technique down in some ways, which I think is good. So there's growth that we've seen there for sure. But he's still definitely raw. IQ is definitely limited. I just don't think he's seen a lot of the looks that I think are just necessary just yet to really, again, be a consistent player out there. But at the same time, despite not really having all that much exposure, I still think there's definitely some natural stuff there. Consistency in man coverage is just not very good. That's probably the best way to put it. But I will say it's not like he can't stick with guys and cover them up. It's just more the fact that, again, some of those looks he's getting, he's not always, again, in the right place. Man coverage versatility definitely is really good. Again, the reason I say it's solid or not really, really good yet is because I just don't know. Again, is there a cap there? We'll see. Zone coverage consistency is just so bad. It's just because, again, I'd probably say, who was it they played? I think it was Northwestern. I might be wrong on that, but whatever. In that game, I remember there was literally a play, the quarterback for I think it was Northwestern. He scrambled, and Carson just simply just didn't literally just disregard what was behind him, just went after him. It was bad. But again, that's just one play that I'm mentioning there because vividly there. But yeah, he got lost a lot. Versatility, that was also decent because again, it's decent. Instincts. I really like his instincts a lot. He definitely trusted him a lot, but we'll see how again that develops for sure. But he's definitely got the right mindset there. Eye discipline, not good. As expected, he's coming in. He's not really know what he's doing in a lot of ways, and not good. He fits the run actually surprisingly well. I think that's more of him again, kind of just focusing on it super much. So I don't really know if this is natural to him, but we'll see if it can continue to improve. He contains against quarterback really, really well. Again, if you're gonna get blitzed by him or he's just not gonna give you a lane at all, he might even overrun you. You're still not gonna get by him. Playmaking is also very, very good. Probably the best trait we saw in him last year. He's got decent speed. I'm not going to act like he's the fastest guy in this draft, but he's still very good for a linebacker in his speed. Blitzing, again, elite. I think this is something that, again, will go with him all the way throughout his career. Again, as long as he doesn't get injured and, like, slows down, that'll definitely be his biggest calling card. Strength, it's just kind of nice, to be honest with you guys. But, yeah, we'll see how that develops. Block shedding is atrocious. That's probably part of the reason he didn't play much at all in 2023. He does not shed blocks well at all. It's brutal to watch. He just locks arms with the tackle or guard or whoever and just calls it a day. Athleticism is definitely decent for sure. I think he has very high potential. I love his motor. I love his energy. And I think it'll go a long way. That's why Dean Jones' comparison, despite them being very different. Anyway, though, with that said, 74 overall grade for him. Now let's get to a guy that is almost a polar opposite. Up next is a guy in Demetrius. Yeah, I think that's his name. Knight the second. Again, he played a tremendous year last year at South Carolina, but he's been around the ringer. He had a very interesting start to his career there at Georgia Tech, but he is old as he's very old. And he definitely faced some adversity, so I gotta give him some credit for that. Anyway, though, at Georgia Tech, they just simply did not know how to freaking use him. I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. Coming in 2019 as a freshman, he just wasn't very good. I'm put it simply, guys. He just was not. Very raw. He played a little bit towards the end of the year, which again, most of those stats come from. But again, on special teams, a lot of it early too. 2020, again, COVID and everything, he just didn't really play well at all. Probably his worst year in college. Didn't play at all in 2020. Was very bizarre. I'll be honest with you guys. The injury 2022, where he actually was the starter for I think the first 2 games before he got benched. But yeah, after that 2022 season where he got injured, I'm like, yeah, this guy's just not gonna get drafted. He's just not good enough. Like we haven't seen like really any of them. But again, I actually caught my eye in 2023 when he played for Charlotte and had his really only like true like full season where you're like, yeah, this is a really good player. Or like again potential there, and then of course last year South Carolina, he was their leading force on defense. Yeah, of course they nick him on or guys like that. Very talented defensive line as well, but he really again solidified that defense, and overall again was just a really good player. Yes, there's some things that again like the athleticism, those limitations we'll get to in a minute that can definitely hold him back. But overall, guys, like he could have just gave up after that season at Georgia Tech where he just literally like it was basically done. But credit to him, and transferred again after getting even more exposure, and yeah, he's putting himself in position to actually have be in a decent spot here. Anyway, though, the biggest thing with the calling card with him, at least from what I've seen, is that he's just a really refined tackler, guys. I'd say he misses like 1 out of every 150 tackles. He's very good, especially in the open field. Again, if you're not going to get out of his tackle, like it's going to be very hard. And again, that's huge with him, but you'll see why in a little bit. It's a little different. His IQ is also very, very good. Definitely developed. He's again a lot more like veteran esque than I think a lot of people will give him credit for, especially on film. I think he's very well prepared. For that reason, I got to give him that 91. He knows what's going on. Consistency and coverage, overall, it's just 72. You're not going to expect him to do as much. Again, it's kind of got to like lower the stakes here a little bit. But again, from what he was asked to do last year, he did a good job with it. Versatility in man isn't great, but I think there are some plays where you could survive with him having to go man-to-man against most tight ends, which again, I think is the difference between him and Kobe King. But in zone, you can't have that happen because you are sacrificing run fits with that, which I think is just a big issue with him. But again, that's just the simple truth. He limits your defense in some ways. Instincts though are actually really solid. I don't think they've ever been off the charts, which is part of the reason he probably didn't get he wasn't highly recruited. But at the same time, they're good enough. Eye discipline is also really good. Again, he really gets really out of position. His run fits overall aren't like as good as they could be, but at the same time, like I'm not gonna act like they're bad because if they were, he just wouldn't have played last year. Containing, again, his overall containing is going to be limited. Just the fact, again, there are going to be quarterbacks that are going to be able to get the edge on him. But overall, he does take decent angles. But, yeah, he's going to get beat most of the time. Playmaking, speed, and blitzing are all something that, again, you'll never really see him have, like, again, a high-end trait for. But as a blitzer, he does pick his spots and does do a decent job with that. Strength overall, I don't think he's, like, the strongest player out there. But at the same time, he's definitely got really good overall, again, with that. And, again, I think he's definitely improved a lot, especially, again, with what we saw at the Combine. Block shedding. Don't know how this happened, but at Charlotte, I'm like, yeah, he's just not there yet. And then this past year, he really improved. So I gotta give him the credit there on film. So much better. Athleticism, not a good athlete, guys. He just overall isn't part of his game. But overall, again, outside of that, I can't really tell you guys much more on that because the RS just kind of tells you all you need to know about it. Potential, I think he'll be a decent linebacker in the league. Again, Jermaine Pratt's never been touted as a very, athletic linebacker, but he's definitely a good player. You'll definitely see that reflected. I'm not a great player, but he's definitely a good player. You'll see that reflected in those rankings. And yeah, 73.9 overall, grade 4 to Demetrius. With that said, that's all I got for him. And now let's get to our last two guys.
Run blitz, the throw high, incomplete, intended for the tight end. Georgia picking the ball up here.
Our next guy was Georgia's starting linebacker for most of the year, Smael Mondon Jr., who, again, I'm not gonna say he was a disappointing career overall, but for again some of the talent we saw and some of the things we saw again in their second national championship run, you would have thought he would have been a better player. Again, him with definitely not Jamel Dean. N'Kobe Dean there in that 2022 season were very, very encouraging, but at the same time, that's why they had a guy like Jalen Walker there, too. Jalen Walker, again, Jalen Walker's a weird guy. We'll be talking about him a lot when we get to those edge rusher rankings. But Smael, I think, definitely got overshadowed by him a lot. And again, there's a reason that Jalen Walker played a lot more edge rusher this year. Because Smael, I'll be honest, guys, he proved a lot in coverage that we really didn't expect. Again, the injury towards the end of the year was a little bit of an issue, but I kind of put them out of funk there. But overall for Smael, I really like the way he played this year, again, overall, because, again, in coverage, he took a big step up. And, again, did sacrifice some of the fact, again, he wasn't really asked to do as much in the open field. The aggressiveness and the overall instincts definitely weren't there as much as we saw in 2023. Again, part of the reason that, again, I think it really frustrated me in 2023 was the fact that, again, he just wasn't good enough in coverage. Very irresponsible in a lot of ways. The fact, again, that just almost seemingly disappeared in 2024 was really good to see. He's always been a decent blitzer as well. He got consistent pressure there. But, yeah. Overall, again, despite 2023 being around all those good players up in the lot, but overall, again, you definitely had a good. Again, you got to be pretty. Again, if you're Smael, you got to be pretty happy with how again your overall career ended there at Georgia. With that said, though, his tackling overall is just not. It's just not consistent. I think his overall technique still needs to be refined. I don't think. Again, the coaching staff there ever really addressed it too much because, again, the way it was doing it, it worked. But again, going the week, I think that's something you can get better at. Football IQ. It's never been that great. He's never really been asked to do too much with it. But, again, overall, it's okay. Man coverage consistency is definitely a little bit lower for the fact that, again, he does sometimes get blow coverage, but that's once in a while. Part of the reason, again, his football IQ is a little bit limited. Man coverage and zone coverage versatility are both really good. It's just for the simple fact that he's got the talent to do it. So, like, I'm not really going to be much concerned with that. You could probably put him in a couple different spots. I'm like, yeah, he'll be fine there. Zone coverage definitely a little more consistent. I think that's because he has developed a decent feel there, which is very encouraging. His instincts overall are just not that special. He's going to do what he can, and yeah, that's about it. So that only limits him. His eye discipline is god-awful, too. Again, it's part of the reason I don't think his instincts are very good. I don't really think he seeks out to, again, anticipate a play, and for that reason, I think when he doesn't see you, again, when he doesn't, like, again, read out a play fully, he will get cooked, and again, that happened a lot. Again, towards the end of 2023. Last year, not as bad, but I still didn't see enough to really feel convinced there. Positioning, fitting the run, I guess is the way you want to put it, I guess, for this. He really didn't fit the run, to be honest with you guys, at all, in his last 2 years. But again, part of the reason, again, it wasn't much of an issue, but again, we'll see how that actually plays in the league. Quarterback contain, it's okay. He'll do, again, he'll make a tackle, I guess. Playmaking, definitely limited. Again, you'd want to see him make a lot more plays, but he just straight up doesn't. Speed, really good. Again, he's definitely a faster linebacker out there. You're not going to really, ever challenge him in terms of him getting burned, in terms of the edge and stuff. Blitzing is okay. Strength is decent. He doesn't shed blocks really at all. I think there might have been one play last year that actually happened. That's why it is a 0. But, yeah, I'm literally giving him a 0. He just does not do it. There's no way I can't give him a higher grade. I want to just not mark it, but I have to give him this because, literally cannot do it. Maybe he will someday, but, the 0 is for, you really just straight up can't do it. I don't know if he'll ever be able to. And I'd say that's an issue, but, he worked around it, so we'll see. He's a really good athlete, though. I got to give him that. He does have some decent potential. You might think that's a little bit crazy, but, guys, he's a freaking cheat code in some ways. You got to realize that. Darren Lee was never really that good in the NFL with the Jets, but I think there's something there. I like what I got with Smael. I think he'll be a decent coverage linebacker. I'll see if that actually translates, but yeah, he just can't shed blocks. So again, unless he just magically changes that, yeah, this is probably going a little bit different. Yeah, I think there's something there though. We'll see if it actually happens.
And they gave it 100. He got stuffed. Jihaad Campbell.
First down at the Alabama 43. Brown.
Try to find me a Alabama linebacker that started as a freshman. Jihaad Campbell will not be one of those guys. Yes, he overall is a little bit inexperienced, but again, he definitely really showed some very good overall tout he's definitely more touted after this past season. But yeah, Jihaad's definitely an interesting guy overall. Of course, as a freshman, didn't play much at all. Again, as expected, was under Nick Saban. Then, of course, 2 years ago, he was overall used in more of a coverage role, which makes sense with him coming out as, again, a profile as a coverage guy. But I will say, I think Nick Saban put him in some spots where you're like, yeah, I'm okay with you doing what you're going to do with that, which I think was very interesting considering, his last season there. 2024, though, last season, he really took on a bigger role, much more responsible than we saw in 2023. Not that he wasn't less responsible, but he did definitely a bigger role overall like that, and he had to be more responsible. Part of the reason I don't think he made as many plays as you might have liked, despite, again, still forcing 2 fumbles, which I think was a big thing that he wasn't able to do in 2023 in terms of his tackling, taking that next level, like stripping. Take a pause there. But yes, he did a much better job with that this year. It also got insane blitzer towards the end of the year as well. So yes, Jihaad Campbell really put on a good tape towards the end of the year. Anyway, though, his tackling is borderline elite. That might be a little bit of a exaggeration, but it's really good. I think what separates him and then the guy how am I freaking forgetting? Jesus, I'm actually a brick. Yeah, Demetrius Knight. There we go. Holy crap. But the thing that separates those two is that I think Demetrius is definitely a little bit more consistent, but Jihaad actually has the chance to, absolutely, blow up a play. So you got to give him that. His football IQ has never really been that good, and I don't think it'll ever actually be that great. But when you put him in the right system, who cares? Consistency in man coverage is good. Yeah, separation has definitely gotten a lot better in terms of, again, his ability to limit that. But he definitely isn't going to be someone that's going to blank you guys, which is the reason I have him solid for his versatility. So, his zone coverage is, I wouldn't say as high as the ceiling, but you could definitely have him going 20 yards down the field on 3rd down and still being pretty comfortable with it. In terms of, again, I got to flip these. His consistency is still decent, but in zone. But yeah, that's what I wanted to do. 80 and 89. All right. Anyway, though, his instincts are, they're okay. I mean, you might think they'd be better here, but they're just straight up not. So, yeah. Eye discipline is pretty atrocious. It's just because of the fact that, especially when they played Oklahoma, they play lesser competition in terms of the defensive line, giving him, literally, a lot of room for error. And he still, really didn't show any, I don't need to overplay here because I'm not, the D-line is, the O-line we're going up against just isn't very good. So for that reason, it was just kind of frustrating watching that. Fitting the run is not great either, but I think that's more the fact that he still was getting comfortable playing in a system, again, that Kalen DeBoer brought in a lot of. That, again, really, stressed the fact that you do need to, actually, put in time there. Contain, good. Again, it should be for a guy like him. Playmaking, also decent. Again, that's probably I'd probably say the thing that separates him in a lot of ways. Speed, really fast. It's still not elite or anything like that, but probably argue close to elite. He still has that speed. Blitzing, he's a good blitzer. Strength, whatever. Block shedding, still needs to work on it. Athleticism, good. And yes, I think he has a pretty decent potential, and that's why we have Trevin Wallace as comparison, despite Trevin Wallace not being that great with the Panthers last year. But he's definitely got something going for him as well. So yeah, 76.7 overall grade for him. Now let's get to these overall rankings. We graded Shemar James first, and like I said, there are some issues with him that I think are going to put him back here a lot. Maybe the lowest guy we've ranked so far. Again, overall, actually. 70.7 overall grade for him. That's going to put him in the... Yeah, I'm not great with this scale, guys. Yeah, Pine Pony riding the bench guy. Yeah, I think Shemar James most of his career. I just think this is overall how it's going to go. He won't get a chance because of the fact that he just doesn't really have the overall experience just yet. But yes, I think there's definitely something there with those instincts, though. I think a team would definitely give him a chance there. All right, Barrett Carter, athleticism is off the chart. I get that, but tackling just isn't there right now. Again, that's why he's here. But yep, I do think a fringe starter is definitely fair for him right now, just on that little cost. But yeah, should at least be a Jag, I guess. I think that's just not fair though, because he does that athleticism. Denny Stutsman, 75. That's going to be a Jag. I think he'll be a Jag in the league, guys. I think he'll be a solid average middle linebacker. And yeah, that's about it. So, yeah. Honestly, though, you got to be okay with that because every team needs a guy like that. Kobe King, he's a little bit lower just because he is a limited player, but I do like his, definitely his floor overall. That's, again, I think he's definitely on the cusp of being a fringe starter, though. But yeah, he at least has some of those good traits, though. That's probably what I'll put there. Carson Schwesinger, similar to Barrett Carter in a lot of ways, but I think just the overall experience is just unknown if he's actually going to be able to handle an NFL system. But if he's able to do that, he can definitely go up a lot. So yeah, I like the potential there. Demetrius Knight the second, yep, similar to Barrett Carter, except not really because they're different players. But he gives you a very high ceiling, probably even higher than Kobe King. But the real only difference than him is that there's just not much floor. There's really not much of a ceiling with him, to be honest with you. I wouldn't say he's going to be capped out, but there's not much of a ceiling with him. All right. Smael Mondon Jr. I like him a lot, despite not being like really that great of a prospect to be overall. To be completely honest with you guys, but yes, I think there's definitely some traits there, and his overall, I like the way he plays. Where I do think that could actually go somewhere. Jihaad Campbell overall, I guess best grade. We'll get to that in a minute. But 76.7. Yes, I think it's pretty fair to say he should be a good starter at some point. But that's being a little bit nice because I think there's definitely a cap for how good he can be. Because he's just again like Edgerrin Cooper last year. He's just really not that great of a prospect. But with that said, though, he is your number one guy here. Again, with all the honorable mentions, 9 through 12. I think I'm at 9, 10, 11. I can count 12 guys. Again, we went through in this video. Again, you can do your own thing with those last 4 honorable mentions as you saw in the beginning of this thing. But anyway, Jihaad Campbell's your number one guy, 76.7. The last guy, Shemar James, 70.7. Definitely seeing on the big board. That is all I got for you guys here in these linebacker rankings. I think we got tight ends. Maybe next. That might be wrong though. I think it might be cornerbacks. Anyway though, we have got some interesting prospects coming up as well. Hope you guys enjoy the linebacker rankings. Comment down below who you think is the best linebacker in this year's draft. Yeah, that's all I got for you guys. And of course, yeah, I guess baseball's back.
Brothers and sisters getting NIL, man. They're getting a lot of money. They might have to break me off a little bit, but I'm proud of them. I'm happy for them.
I am. Break them off.
Speaking of breaking, Caleb Balaj breaking tackles and going all the way to the end zone for the touchdown.
Balaj is a physical guy with home run ability. And watch as he breaks through the line of scrimmage and then gets to the second level, and then you're going to see some poor tackling from San Antonio. But again, it's the physicality of Balaj.